for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane.
And I'm never gonna forgive him for that.
The entertainment industry is about to face its biggest scandal yet. Word on the street is that Aaliyah's case is about to be reopened because there's evidence that suggests that her plane crash was actually planned. And the two people right at the center of this allegation are none other than Diddy and Jay-Z. If this is true, it's going to change everything. This isn't a story you should miss. So, without wasting any time, let's dive straight into it. There's no denying that Aaliyah was one of the brightest stars of her generation.
New CD, self-titled, and I wanted to self-title this album because I feel that when my fans hear it, they'll get a sense of who I am.
She had the voice, the style, and the talent to become one of the greatest singers to ever grace the R&B stage. And she was well on her way to achieving this. But then, on August 25th, 2001, her life was tragically cut short.
Relatives in shock outside Aaliyah's home on the Upper West Side. The R&B star lived here at the Century, Central Park West and 63rd. She was on a small plane heading to Florida from the Bahamas, where she was shooting a music video.
Sweetest person you can know, very intelligent. She knew what she was about and she knew what she wanted to do with her life.
Aaliyah's life started here in New York City, born in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. But as a child, she moved to Detroit, where friends today remembered this young star.
Aaliyah was my best friend. She was a beautiful person on the inside and out. And I'm just shocked.
Aaliyah's hits include Back and Forth and At Your Best. She acted in the movie Romeo Must Die and was slated to appear in sequels to The Matrix. But her life, her dreams, were taken away. On board the doomed Cessna, Aaliyah and 8 others, including a representative for Virgin Records and a makeup artist. Investigators say one of the engines apparently failed. They crashed just short of a runway on Abaco Island. Members of her dance team arrived safely on a different plane.
She's a beautiful person inside and out, and we're gonna all miss her deeply.
She will greatly be missed. You know, she had a great impact on many lives, and it was a great experience to share that time with her.
The family, too hurt to speak on camera, but released this statement. Aaliyah's family is devastated at the loss of their loving daughter and sister. Their hearts go out to those families who also lost their loved ones in this tragic accident.
That day, Aaliyah had been in the Bahamas wrapping up the music video shoot for one of her singles. This was supposed to be a simple in-and-out kind of situation. But unfortunately, things went very, very wrong. You see, the plane she boarded had somehow gotten accidentally overloaded. Despite all of the warnings from the pilot and others around, the plane took off. And after barely minutes in the air, it crashed, taking the life of Aaliyah and 8 other people on board. But not everyone believed this official story of how everything went down. For the longest time now, there has been speculation about the real nature of Aaliyah's passing, with many people believing that there was some foul play involved. But all the conspiracy theories didn't matter to the cops, who ruled it as an accident. The case has been closed for years now. However, there's some evidence that has been brought up recently that suggests that Aaliyah's passing truly wasn't the accident that the cops thought it was. And word on the street is that they just might reopen her case to actually get to the bottom of what really happened. And allegedly, right at the center of the investigation are Jay-Z, Diddy, and R. Kelly. If you're wondering how, let me explain. You see, before there was just Jay-Z and Diddy, there was Jay-Z, Diddy, and R. Kelly. Back when Aaliyah was still with us, R. Kelly was rumored to have gotten into a relationship with her when she was still underage.
I heard is she's coming up, and the whole challenge where she used to be married to R. Kelly.
15, she wasn't married.
15 years old,
She
right?
can't
And
be married at 15 to a grown-ass man.
I know, but
So then why would you still listen to him knowing that they said he married a 15-year-old?
Well,
that was the issue. That you knew it was illegal to be married to a 15-year-old, and the dude could actually put out a fucking album that says age ain't nothing but a number.
That's right.
And y'all gonna listen to it and not say a word. That's where people should.
And he even went as far as marrying her. But then their relationship ended. And right around the time that this happened, Jay-Z was supposedly starting to have eyes for her.
Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
Although he wasn't the only guy interested in her, lots of men around the globe wanted to go out with her because, at the time, she was one of the biggest stars in the whole world. But then, 2 months after the release of her third album, she passed away in a devastating plane crash that didn't make any sense. But according to the rumor mill, the answers have been staring us right in the face, and we just haven't been paying attention. While Jay-Z was allegedly trying to get Aaliyah to date him with the help of R. Kelly, she got together with Dame Dash, the same Dame Dash who had co-founded Rockefeller Records and had a nasty falling out with Jay-Z, so they weren't exactly each other's best friend. Supposedly, after Jay-Z found out that Aaliyah had picked Dame Dash over him, he wasn't too happy with the development. At the same time, he had gotten together with Beyoncé, and even though she was doing good in her own right, let's all be honest here, she wasn't a match for Aaliyah. Now, according to Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z knew this, and since he couldn't get the top woman, which was Aaliyah at the time, he decided to make his girlfriend, aka Beyoncé, the top woman by taking Aaliyah out of the picture. Jaguar was working with Jay-Z at the time when all of this happened, and she laid down a pretty picture of how everything had allegedly gone down. According to her, Beyoncé knew what Jay-Z had in mind for Aaliyah, and she supported it because she was scared that Aaliyah was going to overtake her and become more famous than she was. And Jay-Z allegedly hated the fact that Aaliyah had humiliated him. So the plan was set to take Aaliyah out of the picture, and that was exactly what they did. Remember, after Aaliyah's passing, her toxicology results were released, and it was reported that she had some substances in her body from an unidentifiable pill that she was given, which made her fall asleep. Apparently, she didn't want to get on that plane in the first place, but she was forced. It was almost as if she knew what was going to happen to her that day. Or should we talk about the plane that she got on? Witnesses at the scene of the accident, as well as members of Aaliyah's entourage, have claimed that there were concerns about the weight of the plane before they took off. Then there was the pilot. Luis Morales was the pilot who was hired to fly the plane that ended up taking Aaliyah's life and the lives of 8 other people, including his own. But get this, it was reported that Luis was fired from Golden Airlines in Florida for missing work shortly before the plane crashed. So he was not authorized by the FAA to fly the plane for the company that had hired him 2 days before the crash. And according to reports, his name wasn't even on the authorization papers for the flight. So with all of this being open knowledge, how did Luis get on the plane that day to fly one of the biggest celebrities in the world without anyone picking up the fact that he wasn't supposed to be there in the first place? The only thing that makes sense is that all of this was planned. Luis was planted there by someone very powerful. And that's why no one thought twice about his presence, because everyone was paid off to keep quiet. And that someone was allegedly Jay-Z, and he was assisted by Diddy in the whole process. Supposedly, some evidence has recently been discovered that could prove all of this and more. And if this is true, Jay-Z and Diddy could be in some real trouble. First, there was the lawsuit from his ex, Cassie.
But sadly, she's become more well-known for the abuse she claims to have suffered at the hands of her ex, Sean Combs, than her music. Her debut album, Cassie, was a hit, and the critics even praised it. Her second album was expected in 2008, but it never came. She released some singles here and there, but Connecticut Fever, that never hit the shelves. Cassie had signed a 10-album deal with Combs' Bad Boy Entertainment, but only 1 album was released. Her career, we now know, according to her Bombshell civil lawsuit, was likely derailed and put on hold by a decade of abuse she says she suffered at the hands of Sean Combs. And it's been nearly a year since Ventura filed that Bombshell civil lawsuit. Part of it read, "Over the years that Mr. Combs abused Ms. Ventura physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far to explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success in the entertainment industry." Ventura had recorded music during her relationship with Combs, but mostly singles were released. Ventura's suit said after she tried to leave Combs, following that now infamous 2016 incident captured by hotel security cameras, where Combs actually chased Ventura down a hallway and beat her, her music was used as leverage to get her to come back to Combs. The suit said, "After this, Miss Ventura left her home in Comstock and went to hide away at a friend's home in Florida. James Cruz, president of Bad Boy Management, tracked Ms. Ventura down and told her that her single would not be released if she did not answer Mr. Combs.
And as it turns out, his abuse was well known.
Sean Combs traumatized me in order to corroborate the claims Cassie made in her lawsuit against Diddy. Tiffany, thank you for joining us. It is so difficult, so horrific to watch this and wonder what life must have been and may have been like. Can you take us back to that time, Tiffany, and tell us what Diddy was like from your personal observations, what their relationship was like? Is there context you can give?
I mean, I can definitely provide context around like this incident. Cassie confided in me about this incident when I was working with her around this time, around 2016. We were working on her sophomore album, and she told me about this situation. Their relationship was volatile for sure. And you could tell that she was afraid of him, you know, and that there was a lot of control. And it's witnessing,
what do you feeling?
Well, I mean, the thing is like I said, this is something that Cassie confided in me about back then. And like the one thing specifically that always stuck out to me about the story was him throwing the vase at her. And to see it, I remember her saying, you know, I remember it being at the Intercontinental. I remember the whole situation. But to know a story is one thing, but to see it is something different. And then also to see it, somebody that you care about, it's that a video of my friend getting violently assaulted is all over the world, and no one was there to help her.
More and more friends and former employees have spoken out about what they saw.
I felt sick, and I felt violently angry, and I felt like I'm sure a lot of men and women feel looking at that video, that it's so disturbing that the video doesn't lie.
I mean, you know, when I watched it, what stood out to me initially after Elizabeth Wagmeister got it was she's barefoot in the beginning. And it's like she was so quickly running out of the room to get to the elevator that she didn't even put her shoes on yet.
I mean, that's terror. That's what you would do if there was a fire, right? You would just run out, grab what you could. So I can only imagine looking at that, the fear that she felt she had to get out of that room in bare feet in order to be safe or protect herself.
I mean, you worked closely with him.
I did. I was his assistant between 2008 and 2009.
For Diddy, his downfall seems to have already begun.
Those heavily armored gear and equipment, I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now, it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and why, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security. You have support from local law enforcement officials as well. We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there a part of all of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while.
And it's beginning for Jay-Z as well.
Just coming out this evening, Jay-Z is being accused of raping a minor along with Diddy at a MTV VMAs after party back in 2000, according to documents obtained by Fox News Digital tonight. The lawsuit, which was initially filed back in October, was refiled tonight in New York by an anonymous accuser claiming Jay-Z, whose full name is Sean Carter, raped her while Combs and Celebrity B watched. So that other celebrity was not named. Initially, the lawsuit stated Combs raped the minor while Celebrity A and Celebrity B watched. Carter was named as Celebrity A in the refiled lawsuit. Representatives for Jay-Z did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital request for comment. Combs and Carter allegedly, quote, took turns assaulting the minor, according to the lawsuit. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault, it alleges. The 13-year-old girl was dropped off at Radio City Music Hall by a friend as she wanted to attend the MTV Video Music Awards back in 2000, according to the lawsuit. In an attempt to gain entry to the venue, she began approaching limousine drivers waiting outside the celebrity-filled event. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for Diddy, the lawsuit read. He told her that Combs liked younger girls and said that, quote, she fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. The 13-year-old...
And if he's found guilty of the crimes that he's been accused of, he's probably going to go away for a really long time. I'm talking about life behind bars here. As for Jay-Z, Jaguar Wright predicted that once Diddy goes down, he's going to be the next person to get what's coming for him. Her saying this didn't exactly come as a surprise. For years, she's been screaming at the top of her lungs that these celebrities are not who we think they are.
Beyonce is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything, just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there.
If Cassie hadn't been brave enough to start this whole process that led to Diddy's downfall, we might have never found out about all of this. And we probably would have never believed Jaguar. But now that it's all happening, I don't think there's anything anyone can do to stop it. Even Jay-Z's downfall has started in a way.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet, but it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof gerbil ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs's limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
Jay-Z has been quick and vocal that this is blackmail and not true.
It's exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's account.
We expect Mr. Carter to be fully cleared of all of this in the coming days. Almost nothing that she says has checked out because this never happened.
This in the wake of our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama who accuses Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs of raping her when she was 13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she might have some facts wrong, but that she says the incident happened. What do you say to that?
You know, anybody, when they make up a claim, they can just keep repeating it and getting it right. But you never get the details right. And what happened during her interview with you is that the story began to unravel.
On the night of the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, she says Combs's limo driver took her to an after party. There she says she spoke to musician Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo. That's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both raped her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not corroborate her story. I feel like I would remember that, and I don't, he said. The woman revealed to us that she has autism and previously suffered a head injury. In a follow-up phone interview, we asked her about the contradictions, and she said that she stands by her statements.
This woman is standing by her story. It happened over 20 years ago. Maybe her memory is hazy. Maybe her father doesn't remember that night.
No, she's doubled down on certain of these details. She says, I'm positive. She points out the tattoo. She talks about the tattoo in vivid detail. Turns out that's completely false. And the father is supposed to be picking her up. 10-hour drive, round trip to pick her up in the middle of the night. Has no memory of that. No one has come forward about this in nearly a quarter of a century, and that's because this never happened.
Ever since the lawsuit against him and Diddy was filed late last year, a lot of secrets about him have been coming out. And the craziest part is that this is all just the beginning. But what do you guys think about all this? Do you think that the feds are finally going to get to the bottom of what really happened to Aaliyah? Or do you think that all of this is just hearsay and there's nothing there? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.